say to the people what you were saying to me before the show. Why did Jett Luchanko make this team?
Jett Luchanko, I think the biggest reason why he made this team is because John Tortorella, I will not go so far as to say hates.
It's a strong word.
Does not like the team's NHL centers at all.
I mean,
he is very low on the NHL centers right now.
The clip we showed from 6-7 months ago was us talking about the scratching of Sean Couturier, the team's captain, a former Selke winner, the de facto 1C just based on who he's going to play with to start the year, his role, what we expect of him, what he gets paid, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Morgan Frost, which is a running joke at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, he scratched him 9 or 10 times last year.
Morgan Frost could run into a building and save 9 puppies, and John Tortorella would be like,
10th?
"Where's the 10th?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He does not like those two guys.
It doesn't seem like it.
Like they asked John Tortorella. Coaches are like, "Oh, my players are good to go. They won't give you anything on injuries." John Tortorella was asked, "Is Sean Couturier good to go?" And he said, "I hope so."
I hope so. Yeah.
Coaches don't say that.
No, they don't. Especially not about their captain, who is getting paid nearly $8 million a year.
Yeah. Like the guy you named captain too. This wasn't like the locker room came to towards, because that's happened in like, I mean, Eric Desjardins went to the team and was like, "I'm giving up my seat."
Yeah.
But this was John Tortorella naming a captain. We saw the video.
Yeah.
And then a month later, he scratched him. Like, he just doesn't like these guys. And Jett Luchanko, we have said jokingly somewhat, Tortorella is an emotional thing. Tortorella and I are basically the same.
Right. Yeah.
He is like, well, he could be a boat. Luchanko could be a boat. I don't know.
He's really excited about Luchanko for a lot of reasons. But I do think that before we even get to the other reasons, and there are reasons, I think a lot of this boils down to Torts came into camp with very open eyes for Jett Luchanko because of how many concerns he has about the team's center depth. And this is where I want to go into a clip.
Yes.
Because we interviewed John Tortorella today after practice, and I essentially asked that question. I asked, how much of the fact that you said you are unsure about your centers and Jett Luchanko is a center, how much did that play into the decision? Or is this entirely about you guys feeling like he is NHL ready and that's all that matters? And this was his answer.
The position certainly comes into play. Yeah, the center ice position, and Luch is a center. But we're not going to force feed a young player because he plays a position that I think we need help at, that we need to develop. The biggest thing in why he is still in discussions with us as far as playing in the National Hockey League is he's a mature kid. It doesn't worry me. Is it too much for him? There's, as far as just stepping into the league, if let's say he does start playing with us, there are going to be decisions made and conversations had about, is it too much right now, or whatever it may be. But as far as being afraid because he just turned 18, I'm not afraid of that because he has just a good maturity about him, and the position certainly comes into play. Speed up the middle is so important in our league, and he has it. And how he sees the game, how he sees the play away from the puck, has given him the opportunity to still be playing with the National Hockey League team in practice.
Yes, position comes into it. No, we're not going to force feed our young players because we need that position.
But even when he said, because we need that position, the fact that he straight up said, and I quote, "a position I think we need help in," I think he's kind of given away the game right there. He's straight up saying, I think our centers stink.
Yes, he does not like the centers on this team.
Yeah.
And they are a big question. As much as we joke about, like, he just doesn't like these guys, Sean Couturier being Sean Couturier, or some semblance of a guy that can play that role again, is a huge question mark, both for this season and going forward for the rest of his contract. Morgan Frost, this is kind of this is it, man. Like, it's,
Morgan Frost is a good player.
Yes,
He's a good player that cannot convince John Tortorella he is a good player.
He is a good player, and I'm still not, I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still just like, what is he? Like, what can we use him for?
Yeah.
How can I consistently count on him to be X? Because he can be very good. And I know that everyone's streaky. That's not like what I'm talking. It's just like, I'm still just not sold on him as, oh yeah, man, he's a 2C on a good team.
Right.
And if he's a 3C, like, okay, what kind of wingers do we have to put with him for a third line? Like, I'm just unsure of what Morgan Frost is.
That's fair.
Those two big question marks. How many times have we made the joke about last year, like, in the thick of a playoff race, we're looking at 1C Ryan Poehling.
Right.
Maybe right now all Jett Luchanko is Ryan Poehling, but
he wants another Ryan
he
Poehling.
counted on that a lot.
He sure
last
did.
year.
No, and this is something that I've talked about in the media room, I've talked to you about, and I've done a lot of thinking about it. Because I've legitimately, and look, I'm not saying that Sean Couturier is the guy he was pre-back surgeries, prime, peak, Selke Sean Couturier. He's not. I don't think he is. I guess we'll see this year, but I don't think he's that guy anymore. What I've been thinking about a lot is I've covered multiple coaches. I've covered Sean Couturier for basically his entire career. And every single coach that has been around Sean Couturier loves him, raves about him, talks about how he's a coach's dream. He does all the things right. You know, he's the perfect center. He's so smart, all this stuff. And I think to myself, why does John Tortorella, the one coach in Couturier's entire history who doesn't think he's that good? Why? And I did thinking on this, and it's like, okay, maybe one is just that, well, he's just not that good anymore. But I don't think that's it. And I think I know why. Because it goes back to what you said about Ryan Poehling. He loves Ryan Poehling. Now, he knows Ryan Poehling can't score that much. He's a limited player. But why does he love Ryan Poehling? There's one thing that Ryan Poehling can do and can do real, real well. He can skate real, real fast. Sean Couturier can't.
Never could.
Never could.
And now he has back problems.
And now he has back problems. I really think that the big sticking point for Tortorella with Coots is like, yeah, he does all these great little things. He's a smart player. He's a hard worker. I love his attitude. I love his approach. I think John Tortorella looks at Sean Couturier and just says, he's not fast enough to play the way I want this team to play. And that's why they butt heads. I think it's a big reason why he gets so frustrated with Morgan Frost. Because the thing with Morgan Frost is, Morgan Frost actually is fast enough, but he often doesn't play fast.
He is a deliberate player.
And I think that ticks Torts off to no end because it's like, I just want you guys down the middle to be fast. And he said it in that clip. He said, speed down the middle in the NHL these days, it's so important. And I think he watches Frost. He sees a guy who, when they're doing testing and when they're in practice and he watches him go in a straight line, he's like, he's so quick. He's so fast. He's everything I want in a center. And then he watches him in games and he sees him slow things down and it makes his blood boil. I think John Tortorella has an idea in his head for whatever, whether it's this team or whether it's just his view of the NHL, that his centers have to be fast. And I think that is a big reason why he has been banging the table the entire camp for Jett Luchanko, because for all of the things about Jett Luchanko's game that are not finished and that are still raw and still need work, the one thing that don't need any work at all, dude can fly.
Yeah.
And I think Torts, after watching him kill it in the day one skate test where he didn't even look tired, every time we talk to Torts, like when we talk to the assistants about Luchanko, they're always talking about the details. They're like, yeah, you know, he's so smart, does all the little things right. We talk to Torts about him, like he mentions that, but it's always, hey, he's so fast. He plays with so much pace. He's in such good shape. Like that's what he loves about him. And I really think that the unifying theory here, why he loves Poehling more than he probably should, why he dislikes Couturier more than he probably should, why he's banging the table for a just turned 18 Jett Luchanko who was not that good in his final 3 preseason games. The unifying theory here is he wants speed, especially down the middle. I really think that's what's going on here. It's not all of it, but I think it's a big part of it.
It would make a lot of sense, Charlie. It would. And we talked like before the show, like look at the players he's liked. Like, not just Poehling, but like Owen Tippett, who suddenly has a big old contract.
Yeah.
Like, the guys he's gone to bat for, the guys who have gotten their names placed on that. Like I always say, he's here to make a list with 2 sides. Has it, doesn't have it.
Yep.
The guys who are on the have it side, pretty much all can skate. Like Tyson Forster, but Tyson Forster is
He's the
good.
one exception.
He can score,
Right.
and he's like pre-back surgery Sean Couturier, where he does all the little things and like provides some offense.
Right.
But we talk like Kevin Hayes.
Yeah, hated Kevin Hayes.
Kevin Hayes played at that deliberate, all right, I'm going to pull up. We're not going to rush to the net. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to look and distribute. Like, he doesn't like that. I think that's the same thing he doesn't like about Morgan Frost.
Especially down the middle.
Yeah.
Because what was the thing that he
not a center.
that he butted heads with Hayes
Not a
before
center.
even scratching him was he's not a center. And like he's playing center for the Penguins right now, and he's 3 years older or 2 years older, how much? Like he's clearly a center. He's just not a center in what Torts wants his centers to be. And I think that's probably the frustration with Couturier. And I think that's probably the fixation with Luchanko. It's the speed.
We all silly like the mayor.